So today, we're going to talk about two of my favorite characters of all time. Dick Grayson from DC Comics, and Stiles Stilinski from MTV's Teen Wolf. Dick Grayson is the first Robin to Batman, the first sidekick to the world's greatest detective. He first appeared in April of 1940 in Detective Comics number 38. Stiles Stilinski is one of the main supporting characters on the MTV show Teen Wolf. He's the best friend to Scott McCall, the main character, and serves as the brains of the group. In episode 3 of season 1 of MTV's Teen Wolf, Stiles says to Scott when he's feeling particularly marginalized, "Why is it starting to feel like you're Batman and I'm Robin? I don't want to be Robin all the time." Now this line spoke to me personally because as a comics fan and as a DC cartoons fan, I love Robin. And I felt like this was a little bit of a slight to Robin. So I wanted to talk about, and I posted on Tumblr, a small dissertation on why Stiles Stilinski is Robin and why that's a good thing. So first I'd like to talk about Robin, the first Robin, the original Robin, Dick Grayson. Dick Grayson is a wonderful person whose strength is honestly undeniable. He learned from the best, Batman, how to be a good man, how to sacrifice for the good of others, and why doing the right thing is the best possible thing to do. He didn't become the man he is overnight, however. He wouldn't even be the man he is today, strong, compassionate, just, and horrendously clever, if he hadn't undergone a deep and painful loss. Dick started his life in the circus. He was part of a family act of acrobats. When he was just barely entering his adolescence, he overheard a gangster threatening the ringleader of his circus. The gangster was telling him that he'd hurt his performers unless he paid up. Dick was afraid and didn't tell anyone about what he'd seen. That night, his act was sabotaged and his parents fell to their deaths. Dick felt guilty and responsible because he hadn't warned them in time. Soon after, Dick was taken in by Bruce Wayne, or Batman, as his ward. Bruce rarely paid enough attention to him, however, so Dick found ways to pass his own time, like solving the mystery of his parents' deaths, by himself. Along the way, he finds out that Bruce is Batman. So far, I've covered the loss of extremely close family members, deep grief and guilt that are tied together intrinsically, and engaging in dangerous activities because it's the right thing to do. Sound familiar yet? Stiles lost his mother, and he feels an absolutely debilitating sense of guilt because of her death. We don't know why he feels that way. We don't even know how she died, except that she died slowly, but we do know that his worst fear is his father hating him. Not for any old reason, however. No, Stiles' worst fear is his father hating him because he blames Stiles for Mama Stilinski's death. Stiles feels so guilty about his mother's death that he genuinely thinks that his father would be correct in blaming him for it. Furthermore, it's pretty much a day in the life of Stiles to go headfirst into life-threatening danger because it's the right thing to do. He has to protect his town. He has to protect his friends. He has to protect his father. If that means running out into the night to get a pair of wire cutters to keep the door shut from an insanely strong werewolf monster, okay. If that means treading water for 2 hours while holding up a guy who's barely even his ally and probably weighs at least his weight in half again, sure. If that means throwing a Molotov cocktail at Peter Hale, who has killed his niece and a bunch of other people and tried to kill Stiles as well, whatever. Not enough for you? Do let me go on. In the DC universe, superheroes are actually just that. Super. They have super speed, super strength, laser beam eyes, magic powers, you name it. Batman and Robin? Nope. They're normal people. They kick criminal ass using their smarts, their technological resources, and the physical skills they build and hone by training their bodies. Robin does not have superpowers. Most of his close friends in the superhero community are superpowered, such as Superboy, Kid Flash, and Wonder Girl are 3 among many superheroes who have actual superheroes who are close to Robin. He's not superpowered. He's an acrobat, a hacker, a planner, and a go-getter, but he doesn't have superpowers. Guess who else gets by on what he has? The weak human among crazy, powerful, supernatural beings. Stiles Stilinski. Stiles is the one who uses his noggin. Stiles is the one who makes plans, who can change plans in a heartbeat. He can turn around and adapt whatever intricate strategy he's made to any circumstance that comes to light. He doesn't need claws, fangs, or supernatural healing skills to get the job done. More than that, he has a mental and emotional strength that the others need, because they can't do what Stiles can do. Stiles can prioritize, as cold-hearted as that may be. Of course, this is about as bad a quality as it is respectable. He'll put people he cares about above strangers or people he dislikes without a thought, which is another meta for another day. Why Stiles is not Robin, I predict. Scott is a good guy. He is. But he wants to save everyone. He'd end up with more casualties than could have been avoided trying to save everyone. Scott is so good that he can't focus on the big picture. Stiles isn't like that. Stiles knows the realities of the world. People die sometimes, and you might love them. You might not even know their names, but they die, and sometimes there's just nothing you can do. Stiles minimizes cost, but he understands and accepts that there is always some sort of cost. It takes a certain kind of emotional power to be able to accept that. More likely than not, it's born from Stiles' pain and anguish over his mother's death. But he has that skill, the knowledge that sometimes you just have to take what you can get and run as fast as you can with it, because someone might take even that away from you. Batman once said that Dick Grayson would one day surpass him in leadership skills. Then, guess what? Dick did just that. The boy who once idolized Batman and put him on a pedestal taller than any other, the boy who wanted to be Batman because he thought Batman was the best version of anyone, realized that Batman isn't perfect. Batman is too untrusting to work well in groups. Batman is, sometimes, too much of a loner to even trust Robin. In fact, Batman told Robin that the mobster who killed his parents was dead, when he was in fact arrested and very much alive. Batman thought that Dick would want the gangster dead, so he told him what he thought Dick would want to hear. He also told Dick that the man was dead to prevent Dick from going after him, because Batman assumed that he would want revenge instead of justice. It's only when the truth comes out years later, when the mobster is let out of jail, that Dick realizes that Bruce lied to him. If you didn't catch that, Batman lied to Robin. One of the only people who know his true identity as Bruce Wayne. One of the only people he trusts with personal knowledge. The only person he trusts consistently to be there for him, night after night, watching his back. Batman lied to that guy. Guess who in Teen Wolf lies to the one person with whom he shares a completely trusting relationship? And guess who's being lied to? Scott lies to Stiles about Gerard. Scott tells his best friend everything about what's going on in this crazy werewolf life of his. It's probably because Stiles is all he has. But he doesn't tell Stiles that Psycho Grandpa Argent is threatening his mother. He doesn't tell Stiles that Psycho Grandpa Argent is using and manipulating him. I don't think that withholding information is always lying, but here, Scott lied. That kind of information isn't something you can just keep to yourself. Largely because of that lie that Batman told him so many years ago, but for other reasons as well, Dick Grayson's idea of what a hero should be had morphed into something that wasn't Batman, because Batman is a very flawed, very complex man who is not the ideal hero. Dick wanted to be the best version of himself, not the best version of Bruce Wayne, because the best version of Bruce Wayne isn't the best Dick Grayson can be. He can be better. Dick realized that he couldn't be Batman. He had to be himself. So he left Batman. He became Nightwing. He became his own man. As Nightwing, Dick was truly able to blossom and reach the full potential of his abilities. Not only does he excel in making successful, brilliant strategies and plans, sometimes on the fly and completely off the top of his head, he was able to really become the leader Batman knew he would one day become. In fact, he exceeded Batman's expectations. Dick keeps contact with a huge number of superheroes. With that kind of ally list, he can easily unite and call to arms exactly who he needs at any given time. And those heroes listen to him. Even the ones who are his elders, the ones who have been doing this since before he was born. They listen to Dick because Dick inspires them. In Teen Wolf, who's the bridge between Derek's pack and Scott's pack? Who's the one who goes out of his way to make sure Erica and Isaac are okay? Who's the one who trains Scott to control his heart rate? Who does his homework on werewolves? Who is a protector and guardian for those who are stronger than he is? Stiles. Stiles is a born leader, even though he's technically still a sidekick. Stiles is the leader from behind the scenes. He's the one with the mountain ash, who ran the possibility of getting shot just to make sure their plan would go how it was supposed to go. He's the one with the meeting with the school guidance counselor, and he knows exactly how everyone involved in this crazy shit is doing. He's the one who keeps up with both packs, because he's the gray area between them. He's the one who Erica and Isaac listened to. He gave them orders in raving, and they did just as he said. That means that Erica and Isaac, Derek's betas, respect Stiles' demands just as much as they respect Derek's. That's a big deal. So yeah, maybe Stiles isn't a werewolf. Maybe he doesn't get the girl. Maybe he's geeky and skinny and can't tell a lie for his life. But he's also Robin. And that's not a bad thing at all. Stiles is becoming Nightwing. Stiles is a hero. In fact, if you ask me, I'd rather be Robin than Batman any day.